After the paramount success of the Allied invasion in Normandy, American, British, and Russian troops began blazing through Europe.
We headed towards Cherbourg. On the way to Cherbourg, a small town of Moniburg, on June the 10th, we were stopped by a tank that was firing 88 millimeter artillery shells at us, and that's when I got wounded, and my machine gun squad was knocked out. I got wounded on the shoulder, and that day I laid along the hedgerow practically all night because the medics hadn't come up to take care of me. And my gunner and an assistant gunner on the machine gun, they were killed at the same time that I was wounded.
We ended up starting to fight, and the first little town was Hagenau. I think it's Hagenau. And we fought there, and I'm learning to fight now. I'm learning to kill, and that's bad. That's bad.
See, another thing is about when you train with the guys, you sleep with them, you eat with them, sometimes you go to town with them, and then you go into battle, and then they get killed. It's just like your brother,
American troops helped liberate Cherbourg and Saint-Lô, France in June and July of 1944, and finally reached Paris on August 25th, 1944.
That was a joyous day for the Parisians, because they were throwing flowers. We were on 2.5 ton trucks going into Paris, and the people were throwing flowers at us, and they were giving us champagne to drink, and the girls try to get on the 2.5 ton trucks, and just the soldiers and things like that. It was a glorious day.
While they were quickly making progress in Europe, the brutality of war weighed heavily on most Erie GIs.
We tacked up to Bobti, a little town. So we went up there and took that town. As we was going up there, we ran into a German tanks, 2 of them, and we knocked them out. And I don't want to talk about it.
And we looked up in the air, and here there were gliders that were pulled by regular DC-103 airplanes. And they dropped the rope to disengage them from the airplane, and circled one way, and the airplanes went the other way, and when they landed, they were landing in the hedgerows, which was very small landing places. And so when after they landed, you could hear all the screaming and stuff like that.
So some German sniper almost got me because the bullet went right by my head like this. I was digging my hole, and I stood up, and the bullet went shoot, like that. And I jumped down, and
I lasted 122 days in combat. And I was wounded, I would say 8 times, but there were miniature scraps of wounds that I fixed myself. Because I didn't want to be calling a medic all the time. They could use them on other fellas.
There was a lot. There was soldiers laying along the road, and that they were killed as we were coming through. Oh yeah, I saw so many soldiers.
And my platoon sergeant, Erie, he ran across the one hedgerow, get on the other side, and the German shot him. He fell down. And it was my turn to run across that field. And as I ran to front, I don't know how I got over that hedgerow. I took one big leap, and I got on the other side, and there's a lot of American soldiers laying there in this creek, in the creek, and I didn't want to step on them, so I jumped up on a hedgerow, and the German shot me in the arm.
American soldiers began to grow into war, hardened to the new pain and suffering, though many memories will never leave them.
All the Germans started jumping out. They were on fire, and all the guys shooting them, killing them.
I killed them all. I killed 15 of them. That's not fun.
There was one German laying on the road. He was laying like this.
I had fear. And you did what you had to do. You went where you had to go. But I had fear of what's over the next hill. As we advanced, the Germans were really bombing us. And I thought to myself, what is this guy got it? That guy got it. This guy got it. I said, when is it my turn? And this is how we felt, see? Because the combat was fearful. This was a terrible war. They wanted it, and we had a bunch of 17-year-old boys who had never been, and that's how I felt. I was afraid.